Hi everyone, Janine here. Welcome to my Thursday. So the big story this week is the wildfires in Los Angeles. And there's a lot of speculation about what's going on there, who started it, what the intention is, and so on and so forth. Some people believe they've been started on purpose and that they're wiping out that area because they want to build a smart city in LA. It's on the list like Hawaii was, which is a possibility. Others believe it is the destruction of evil linked to satanic Hollywood playing out and a lot of stuff being cleared there, maybe evidence being burned in certain celebrities' homes and stuff like that. There's a lot of speculation. And many years ago, I read about the changes that were coming to the earth. And I'm not going to mention the book because I'm really cautious about giving out other people's names, especially people that I'm not 100% sure that they're sharing the correct information, even though this goes back almost 15, 20 years ago probably. But there was a book written that basically said that with the ascension of what's happening with the new earth, that if the people didn't heal and didn't heal the land, you know, some of us do work on the land. Anyone that works with me, you know, I connect you to source and we spread that energy around the whole planet. So we're not just working on your physical body, we're working on all your energy levels. You know, it's affecting your earth, your reality. But in the book it said, if people don't do the work and they don't clear the old karmic imprints, memories, and the, you know, all that negativity from the past, and if you think about it, all of us come from barbaric ancestors, all of us. No matter whether we were rich or poor, our ancestors were into incest and murder and rape and pillage and barbaric behaviours, and that's our background. We need to, you know, own that and deal with it, because what's going on in the world is all this old stuff is getting churned up now. The energy is coming in and pushing out all of this negativity to be healed. So no matter which way you look at it, what's going on at the moment is a massive cleansing. And in the book it said, if people don't clear it, that the higher power and Mother Earth will take over and cleanse automatically with what we perceive to be natural disasters, floods, fire, earthquakes. This is the 6th potential extinction of the planet event. We are going to make it this time, but we have trashed our planet 5 times before and had to start again, apparently. So what's going on out there, it's important not to get pulled into all of these different storylines that are going on of they're doing this to us, they're doing it for this reason, blah, 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 and just being in your present moment and holding that frequency of that neutrality, because that's what's raising us up. As far as predictive programming goes, this is why I don't look into the future anymore. I don't follow people that look into the future anymore, because if they are being influenced in any way, and I've spoken to you before about chipping and mind meshes and stuff like that, and if you haven't heard about it, you may need to go and look down my old stuff. But people that have been sharing information are being given false information. Some of it's true, some of it's false. The problem is when we take it, when we believe it because they said it, we've taken that program into our consciousness and we project that into our reality en masse. It's a collective experience. So the predictive programming follows the storylines that most people have taken on board. And if you've got people that have been compromised psychically on any level, sharing predictive programming about the future, that this is going to happen or that's going to happen, And there are some very big names out there doing it. And people absorb that information, then that's what predictive programming is. They've taken that information in and they're projecting that into reality because that's what they believe is going to happen, and because there's enough of them believing that, that's what they manifest. All of that being said, when I see this, and I have got friends in LA and people that have lost their homes are gone, there is another level of looking at this, that if people in that side of the world have not woken up yet, have not started to heal their trauma, release their false beliefs, raise their consciousness to a higher frequency, then their higher consciousness is going to force them into a traumatic event, because what that trauma does is it pops the neural pathways in the brain and allows us to rewire new neural pathways. Anyone out there that's been through traumatic experiences that led to their awakening, you know what I'm talking about. That's what happened with me. 23 years ago, I lost my father. It'll be 24 years ago in July. That was the massive shock trauma that started my awakening, because the old neural pathways were just popped and I was emptied and all this new information started to come in. Plus, when we go through natural disasters, whether you believe they're natural or not, everything that happens for a reason. Everything that happens is chosen to happen by our higher consciousness, whether you believe that or not. 20 odd years into this, I know that to be a fact. This is why the law of attraction doesn't always work for people. If your higher consciousness doesn't think that you're ready for that, or your vibration, your frequency isn't a match for that, then you're not going to get it. So if we need to wake up because we're still asleep or still doing things that are the old paradigm, our higher consciousness is going to create some kind of traumatic incident to wake us up. What that also does is, instead of people living in their little boxes and, you know, not worrying about their neighbours or caring or anything like that, when you strip things from people, when you strip them from all of their materialistic belongings, they open their hearts to one another. They start to help one another. And this is another reason I believe this is happening on a higher level. I think our higher consciousness is trying to elevate California, and on another level there has been a lot of negative stuff gone on in certain parts of that state, and indeed certain parts of the world. And this is not the first time we've gone through this. We've had fires in Canada. I was here one summer where we couldn't go out for 12 weeks. It was literally raining ash. You couldn't go out. At one point it was 120 degrees and I couldn't breathe. I couldn't go outside for more than 10 minutes at a time. And the ash was everywhere. If you looked out, it just looked like snow, and it was ash coming in. And in that book that I read, and you know me guys, I don't watch screens without saying I intend to observe and not absorb on any level of my consciousness, and I'm doing that with everything that I see now. It's part of my morning routine, that anything I observe, I'm observing it as the observer, not absorbing it from my lower ego level, on any level of consciousness. Because if you're watching something horrible and you cover your eyes, it's still sending out a vibrational frequency. You're still hearing the screams or the fighting or the arguing. There's still that energy coming out of the screen is still going into your heart, into your energy field, into your home, into your children if they're in the room, and your pets. So think about that. So natural disaster or not natural disaster, these things are happening and there's going to be more of it. I've tried to avoid over the last few years when I was on Instagram, and I stopped doing my lives on there about a year ago now, because I didn't want to plant any negative seeds in people, but for 15, 20 years, I knew that there was a lot of bad stuff coming. I've spoken before about the love and light going up, well, the dark and the fear and the hate has got to go up, because that's the balance of duality. So there's a lot of lower frequency entities, energies on the planet at the moment, and this is the beginning of more what people call natural disasters. Whether you believe they're natural or not doesn't make any difference. The fact is, the universe has created it. We have created it. It's happening for a reason. And unfortunately, there's going to be more of it. As Earth ascends into these higher frequencies, people are talking about the new Earth and the old Earth. The old Earth is the programmable, the corrupt, so on and so forth. Well, even if you split the Earth inhabitants into, two halves, at least 15 years ago, I was given information that 3 billion people were going to pass over. Now, that can happen in different ways. Obviously we've gone through what's happened with the last few years and the you-know-what, and that is already killing a lot of people. And over the next 2 or 3 years will be like the warnings were going out that you would see it happen in 3 to 5 years. Well, we're a couple of years, past that now. So in the next couple of years, there's going to be a lot more people leaving. And we need to understand that that's going to happen and try and maintain being in the neutral. Obviously, if it's your family and friends, it's going to be a very traumatic time for you. So it's important that you take care of yourself, and it's important that you get help if you are traumatized, because that trauma in your system is damaging your cells, it's damaging the mitochondria, it's creating illness and making your immune system weak. And the most important thing we need right now is a strong immune system. We need our frequency high, we need our immune system high to keep out these negative frequencies, electromagnetic frequencies, the lower frequencies and stuff like that that have been linked into other negative stuff. And I'm to be careful what I'm saying on YouTube here. So be careful if you are watching it, and even I've been watching it on my phone, on the news, to see what's going on, because like I said, I have got some friends that live there and I've been concerned for them. Thankfully, they're okay, but some have lost their homes. And that's a massive trauma in itself. Losing all our bits and pieces and our, even things like family photographs, losing them can be traumatic. So prayers needed if that's what you do. We're not in a position where we're meant to be interfering any of the light workers and starseeds out there. I hope you're wise enough not to be trying to interfere with this without having conversation with your higher consciousness to see if it's appropriate. Because if you are, you're just pushing energy out that is not going to do any good. You're wasting your time. So for anyone out there that is going through this, my heart is with you. And I've shared a few things on my Instagram story. There are people offering to help if you need help and somewhere to stay and stuff like that. So maybe go and have a look, check those out. And all we can do is be as neutral as possible and hold that calm to counterbalance the chaos. There is going to be more coming to Earth. Floods, earthquakes, fires, what we are told as natural disasters. This is part of the process of the waking up people They can see that the water was turned off, that there were cuts to the fire services didn't have the water and so on and so forth. And people are up in arms about that. But in reality, one of the firefighters said even if they had the water, they were only equipped to deal with 2 fires at max, not 6, which is what's been going on as of I'm aware today. So if you are in an area where in the past there's been floods or fires or earthquakes or stuff like that, just get organised. Have your survival kits and your backups and your generators and some food and water stored and things like that. People have been talking about this for years, and most people have gone, it's just conspiracy stuff, just ignore it and so on and so forth. But that's not the case. There's a big difference between what the mass consciousness of humanity are manifesting now and what's conspiracy theory, what's conspiracy fact, and what is going to happen because it needs to happen because it's part of the ascension of the new earth. Sometimes things need to be destroyed in order to be rebuilt. Fire cleanses. Water cleanses. There's a lot of information out there now about potential, which is we're overdue on the west coast of America for another big earthquake. There is a cycle to them. So far, it's overdue. But the more and more people that go watching this stuff and start thinking that that's coming, predictive programming kicks in and we start manifesting it. So the best thing we can manifest is peace and calm and love and compassion and kindness. By being in our meditations, by seeing that, by holding that pure love in our energy field, and imagine that being out all over the world. Because we can't stop what's happening. There is a separation going on. People are going to move. There are going to be people that won't want to rebuild their homes in California, knowing that there's a smart city coming there. Cities are not going to be the place to be. Because if you think about it, if you're living in a huge condo, all that Wi-Fi, if there's 50 apartments in that block, and even if only 25 of them have got Wi-Fi, all that radiation is in that building. It's compacted, and it's not good for us, it's not healthy. We know this. So cities are not going to be the place to be. They're not going to be the place to be. They're already rolling out these controls in certain places in China and Japan and stuff like that about trying to contain people in these smart cities where you can only go 15 minutes away from your home and there's a line that you're not allowed to cross. This is totalitarianism. Those that are staying in the lower earth projection, which is what it is, the simulator that we all live in is a projection of us. Those that are not doing the work and are living in that lower one have got some really tough times coming ahead of them. That slave totalitarianism, dystopian future is a part of their future. Not mine, not yours. Those of you that have been working with me, you understand how this works. You have to clear the stuff out of your consciousness to get into a better timeline. My new podcast is going to be released this weekend with Laura Devanta and Lisa Cito and Susan Blount, all friends of mine. We've recorded the first one on Monday and it goes out this weekend. And I'm talking about the 6 different timelines, main timelines on there this week. We're going to be Talking Timelines is the podcast. It's going to be out every week. So check us out on there. We're going to be talking about all sorts of things. But take care of yourself. Eat healthy, sleep when you need to rest. Lots of us are extremely tired at the moment because our bodies are being used as conduits for the light to come in, to raise us up and to hold the light on the earth. And that means you can go to bed and close your eyes and you've got like flashing lights going on in your eyes, or you're lying there wide awake, because your body needs to be awake in order for the energy to come through. Excuse me. When we go to sleep, our astral body goes out of our body and it's not so easy for the energy to flow through us. So we're kept awake for that reason. But I've held back on talking about the negative aspects of the changes on the planet until now. But there's so much going on and there's so much information out there. I did share something on my Instagram page earlier where people could actually see like electric sparks going off in the clouds in the sky, as if there was some kind of an explosion in the clouds that wasn't lightning. There's a lot of weird stuff going on at the moment, people talking about these energy directed weapons and things like that. It doesn't matter who's doing it, how it's being done. What matters is there's going to be more of it. So if you're getting the nudge to move your home and you're in the city and you've got children, you're getting the nudge to move somewhere, you know, more inland or with less people, then listen. Because I'm pretty sure a lot of the people that are in LA at the moment will have had messages and insights and maybe even dreams to move. There's a lot of devastation and there's a lot of chaos and there's a lot of sadness and grief out there. So people do need your prayers in that respect. And if you want to help and you can help, there's lots of things you can do to help people. People are paying for Airbnbs and things like that to help people. So this is a time to be present. I remember many years ago when I woke up to this, I was being told there's going to be a lot of devastation on the planet, and I was asked to help people stay present and calm and in their heart centers, understanding that what's happening is part of the ascension of the planet. There has to be destruction in order for new growth to come through. And as awful as that is for these poor people, poor souls that are going through this, my heart goes out to them. Us getting tangled up in it, getting caught in the conspiracy stuff about the bad guys are doing this and the bad guys are doing that, is just pulling us into duality and negativity. It's not helping. There is always a different way of looking at things. Sometimes these things can happen because there's karma involved. Everything we've ever done is going to come back on us in these times. Everything we've done wrong is going to come back on us. Law of cause and effect, we can't avoid it. So at the moment, I think the important thing to do is to be present. If you want to pray, pray. If you want to send somebody or blankets or clothes or whatever, look into that and send some and help. But be very careful not to get pulled into the them and us and the anger and everything else that's going on, because we hold the frequency as high as we can to counterbalance what's going on. But today I decided that I was going to share the information that I was given all those years ago. And as I said, I was told that 3 billion people will be leaving the planet. And I've thought about that, and it may be, so, maybe that many of them pass, but in your reality, it might be that you move down, you go down your street and a lot of people have moved away. People have just moved. Anyone that knows me know that for the last 5 years I've been talking about Malibu. I'd love to go and live in Malibu. It's just always been calling me. And not that long ago, I asked my higher self, why am I not there yet? And my higher self told me, Janine, it's too dangerous. And now I know why. Today I realise why. My higher self knew this was going to happen. So when I was meditating today, I got asked to show what Malibu is going to look like in the future. And these houses that have been wiped out, not all of them are going to be rebuilt. Not everyone is going to want to rebuild there. So new properties will be built, but it's going to be different. It's not going to have as many people. I think a lot of people are going to move from these more dangerous areas. I've certainly got friends in Florida that come from California, and she said she would rather have the hurricanes any day compared to earthquakes because she was in a really bad earthquake there once, and literally the next day got in a car with her 2 kids and husband and drove to Florida to get away from it. But there's a lot going on, a lot of people talking about manipulation of the weather and all this kind of stuff. And again, it doesn't matter who's doing it. What matters is it's part of the ascension and the cleansing process that's happening with the new earth. Those people that believe in God, they're either looking at this like God's chosen for that to happen, or why is God allowing this to happen? I don't see Creator, God, one, as a person or a being that is making these decisions. Everything in our reality is a projection of what we've got within us. Fire is an energy. It's a cleanser. So all of this is happening as part of the process of the growth and the separation of the old earth and the new earth, even though there are multiple different timelines and realities. There's an ascended reality and a non-ascended reality. And the non-ascended reality is going to be a really difficult place for people to be. It's a slave camp. So this isn't something that you can just piggyback off people. I've been saying this for years. You need to level up. You need to do the work. If you think about it, when we're at school, what do they teach us in history? They teach us about war. They teach people in America about civil war. Everyone's got to know about this. You've got to know about the war, the civil war, and all this, you know, what our country have been through, and so on and so forth. What's that doing? It's teaching children that would have known anything about that, about war. It's predictive programming. So the education system, all of this needs to change. But until people wake up to that, what are those powers that were programming into children in school? What's being programmed into us through television and radio and social media? Even the people out there that have got hundreds of thousands of followers on social media, as you know, I was heavily censored. They don't want people helping people and healing them. The information that they're sharing, they believe is that information. They're not, a lot of them are not even awake enough to understand that what they're sharing with you is predictive programming. They're doing it with good intention because they think they need to give you that information, and I've been there. But the problem is, if we take it and we own it, then that's the prediction for the future. And there's a lot of those predictions being brought through the biblical communities as well. So be careful what you're absorbing. If you've got children, I would recommend you teach them about screens and energy, and that if they are using their iPad or their computer or their phone or their television or radio, that you teach them to say, I intend to observe or listen, but not absorb on any level of my consciousness. So they're not pulling those frequencies in. Remember the 3-second rule. You name it, you focus on it, you pull it, you activate it again in your DNA. Your DNA is the software in the machine that's creating your reality. And the collective is what's creating this. So whether people, and there are some people, unfortunately, that think that what's going on there is funny and it's burning satanic Hollywood and all this. There's people, families, children, pets, pensioners, people losing their homes, and that's never something to be laughed at. It's amazing how quickly people will judge other people from a level of ignorance, calling them satanic this, that and the other, and not realising that it's a projection of the satanic programs in their own DNA and in their own consciousness that have been placed in there through religious systems and organisations. If there was no religion and everyone cleaned that out of their DNA, there wouldn't be a Satan. It's a story that's created an entity and an energy mass and a lifestyle around that negativity. Everything is a program in the Earth simulator. We live in the equivalent of a virtual reality that the outside world mirrors what we've got inside us. So without the screens and so on, think about your reality. Is it good? You having a good day? Got good people around you? Great. But if you go onto a screen and you're watching something, and there's plenty of people out there that are posting every day, oh, this person's satanic, that person's satanic, I feel like saying to them, hello, take Satan out of your DNA and you won't be judging these people anymore. If they trigger you, it's in you. If you watch it from the level I'm watching it, and a lot of the people on here that have been following me are watching it from, you understand it, that it's just a projection. And when you've cleaned it out of your consciousness, you can watch it from complete neutrality as an observer. So take care, guys. Be careful not to absorb the trauma through the screens as well, because trauma by proxy is a very real thing. And that energy can come through and affect you. So take care, remember to cover your screens, make a statement, I intend to observe and not absorb on any level of my consciousness. And be in the present, knowing that we've got to move through this, we've got to allow it to happen, because it's waking people up. Some people have to go through trauma in order to wake up, unfortunately. That's their higher self's last attempt. If you don't listen to the messages from your higher self, or if people have been trying to share stuff and you're ignoring it, higher self will step in, higher consciousness will step in and go, right, I gave you a tap on the shoulder, I whispered in your ear, you didn't listen. Now we're sending in the big boys. And that's what happens. So take care of yourself, guys. Thanks for joining me. And check out my new podcast, Talking Timelines. And I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.